What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Radiovania, episode number 78, your nerdy public radio for all things entertainment and pop culture. My name is Zach Rotello, at Zach Rotello on Twitter and social media and all the things around the globe. And sitting a bajillion, or we talked about this last week, 30,000 miles away from me is John Swanson Parker.
3,700, but
3,700.
Yeah. What's up, man?
No, not much. What's going on with you?
I'm
You just almost got
chilling.
attacked by raccoons.
Yeah, so I'm in my backyard. It's about 9 p.m. Pacific time, and raccoons are trying to invade my backyard. So stay tuned in case they attack me and I get rabies. But otherwise, it's going pretty good, man. How about you?
They went, "You should have listened to your captain, Quill." And then they scooted off into the dust.
Bunch of assholes standing in a circle.
Well, this is Radiovania. It's an episode. It's a show where if you've never listened to it before, you're in for a treat because we've got a great show. We're going to talk Mandalorian. We're going to talk PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. We're going to talk about Dogma and Joe Biden. And then this episode,
Wow, casting a wide net there.
You can go to radiovania.com to catch up on all the episodes of our show. You can go search Radiovania on all podcast platforms around the globe and check us out there. Please leave us positive reviews and likes and follow us on all the social media. But yeah, we got so much news to cover. We're going to insert a discussion on Mandalorian episode 1 and 2 because we've seen the first 2 episodes. The 3rd episode comes out tomorrow because today is today is November 12th. So tomorrow on the 13th of November 2020, we'll have seen the 3rd episode of Mando. So next week or the week after, or whenever we get together, expect a discussion about that. But until then, John, has anything crazy been happening in your neck of the woods the past couple weeks since our last episode? Have you watched anything, played anything, seen anything good?
I have been playing a video game that I'm sure we will talk about.
We sure will.
Momentarily. But beyond that, no, because I've been swamped as a UPS driver.
Did you hear, I didn't insert this as a news article, but apparently UPS is lifting restrictions on facial hair for drivers.
Yeah, I did hear that. So I might be able to get my old beard back, which would be so nice.
Yeah,
although it is pretty clutch being clean shaven and having to wear a mask all the time.
Yeah, less hot, right?
Yeah, definitely. And also, you're constantly adjusting your mask and stuff like that too, so.
Yeah.
But we'll see for sure.
Yeah, I need to send you out, not that we're sponsored or anything, but I do need to send you some of the Homage adjustable masks because those things are amazing. Beard or no beard. They fit on your face, they're adjustable. I feel like I never have to touch my face, which working at a retail environment for 8 to 9 hours a day, it's like the last thing I want to do is touch my face, and these things fucking rock. So I might have to airmail you some shit.
Yeah, I would love that.
So before we get into all the news flashpoint stuff that we will no doubtedly talk about, I do want to do a story that I called Zach Rotello and the horrible, no good, very bad PS5 launch.
I'm so excited for this.
So I'm going to go for a rant here. This is like a classic. This is going to be a classic fantasy football rant, except for I'm not ranting about sports. I'm ranting about video games. And feel free to interject here because I don't want this to just be me going off on a fucking tangent for 5 minutes.
All right. Yeah. Tell us the story.
So the PlayStation 5 comes out today, Thursday, November 12th, 2020. I'm a huge PlayStation guy. I've been a PlayStation fan for my entire life. GameCube. I was obviously a GameCube guy. I was in the NES and the Sega Dreamcast. I was a Sega guy. I was a Nintendo kid. I loved all those platforms or whatever. But then as soon as it came to dual stick games, I was a PS2 guy, I was a PS3 guy, and I was a PS4 guy. And now, obviously, I'm bought in, baby. Last of Us, Uncharted, Ghosts of Tsushima, every single thing from whatever, Horizon Zero Dawn, that studio, which I can't remember the name off the tip of my tongue. You got Bloodborne, you got Demon Souls, you got all this shit. Spider-Man, Miles Morales, fucking hell. I'm ready. I'm bought in, baby. PS5 time. Here it comes. So September, whatever it was, 15th, I think, I was in Santa Cruz with our friend John Parker here sitting across from Mike. John, can you confirm that I was indeed in Santa Cruz, California?
I can confirm that.
That's right.
The raccoons are back. Continue. Get out of here.
This is a great episode. This is a great episode.
Go on, get.
Please tell me if these things start attacking you. I don't know if I can be responsible for your death on air if you die by raccoon.
They're too fucking scared of me. They're just like staring at me right now.
Okay. So anyway, I'm in Santa Cruz, California when the PlayStation 5 pre-orders go live. All right, cool. So I pop open the thing on Amazon. I try to pre-order a PS5 on Amazon. Doesn't work. Cool. I get an alert from a guy I follow on Twitter that tweets video game deals, and he says, hey, PS5 is live at Target. And I was like, okay, cool, Target. I have a red card for Target. Do you have a red card, John?
Is that like their membership?
Yeah, you save 5% on all purchases at Target.
No, but I should get one.
It's a pretty good deal, honestly. It's
You
a pretty
sold
good deal.
me.
And the red card you can use for pre-orders on products. So I was like, okay, this is cool. I wish I could pre-order it on Amazon because at least, with the Amazon store card or the Amazon credit card like I have, you can pay for any purchase over $150, I believe, in 6 monthly payments with no interest, which is always just, why wouldn't you do that if you have the option? And so I was like, okay, well, it's a bummer, but I love PlayStation enough that I'm willing to just go ahead and pay the $500 outright on Target. The bonus is that the Target Red Card with that 5%, I get $25 back. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, I'm saving a little bit of money in the long run. So, I can offset the fact that I'll be ordering it on Target. Everything's hunky-dory. A couple months go by. About a week ago, people are starting to get shipping notifications through all these things. Amazon starts shipping units of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox. Target, I see some units being shipped out. I see Walmart units being shipped out, so on and so forth. Best Buy, GameStop, units being shipped out for all these next-gen consoles. Amazon emails me 3 days ago on the Xbox, on the eve of the Xbox Series X launch, and says, hey, we might not be able to get you your Xbox until December 31st or before. I went, ouch, that sucks. But it's the Xbox. I don't need it right away.
December 31st?
Yeah, that's right.
Holy shit.
That's right. December 31st or before, they said, so
that's the end of the year.
That's the end of the year. And and so to me, I'm obviously I'm on the forums, on like Reddit and shit, and people are like, well, this is obvious. It means that they're overselling units. They're overselling units right out the gate, and then they're just delaying the people that got in later than the people that got in at the beginning. It's like, that sucks, but this has been happening for years. I remember this happened with the PlayStation 4. But then, 2 days ago, my Target pre-order for the PlayStation 5. Finally, something happens from where it said pre-order confirmed to about to ship. And then it tells me that it's about to ship next week on the 18th. And I was like, well, this sucks. I mean, at least it's within a week, but it really sucks that I was expecting it on launch day.
Well, you took time off to play it.
Yeah, I took this week off as vacation because I was excited to play my PlayStation 5. And then, the Target app is like, hey, you might not get this thing until next week. And the real shit kicker, John, is that in the fine print underneath the pre-order for the PlayStation 5, after I got the preparing to ship notification, it said this, and I quote, I have to pull up the image because it just makes me infuriated to look at, to be honest with you. It says, this item, it says, because this item ships in its original packaging, there's no way to hide what it is.
This is package thieves. On the hunt.
Yes, and
Yeah,
I live,
which I know all about.
So here's what I want to ask you about, John. Is that I live in a neighborhood about less than 5 miles from downtown Cincinnati. It's a nice neighborhood, mostly young professionals. It's a really nice, lowish crime area of the city of Cincinnati. But we have still had packages been stolen from our front porch. But I want to know, have you delivered any next gen consoles? Have you seen any big boxes from Targets or Best Buys? And like, what is your concern level here?
I have gotten a lot of big Target boxes lately. However, I have not gotten any like pure PlayStation or Xbox boxes. You guys would be the first people to know if I did get some of those, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't be too concerned. At UPS, we are instructed for laptops and Apple products to not leave them unless we get a signature. So I think you're going to be okay, dude.
Well,
maybe you could go on there and request signaturing, just to double check, get that 2-factor verification.
So I have not seen that option. And I've checked. But there's also the thing where I got the new iPhone 12 delivered to me a couple weeks ago, and because UPS is not doing like contact delivery, they're not requiring signatures at this time, and I didn't see an option to change that. So the UPS guy that delivered to me my iPhone just left it in my mailbox.
All right, well, UPS Cincinnati is not doing good then.
Yeah. Well, so there's been some other shit where it's like people on Twitter, I've seen some people screenshot chats with like Target like guest help, like their like automated guest help thing, and people are asking like, hey, is this really just going to show up in a big box that says PlayStation 5? And a bunch of Target retail like guest help things have replied like, no, it's going to ship in a brown Target box, but then some of them are saying it's not. So it's like, it's kind of up in the air, to be honest. Like all I just want to say, this whole rant to come to a close, to move on with the news. Every fucking time a new console is released, it's always some bullshit. Can we just not get ourselves together as a population? This should be so easy. But it's not. And it's frustrating.
I feel like, I remember the Wii scrambles of like 2006,
Oh, yeah.
There's like always something going on.
It's like I pre-ordered my iPhone 12 on a Tuesday, and I got it that Friday, and it was fine. And tracking was right on time, and everything was perfectly fine, and I got it, and it was perfect, and it was great. I know Apple is Apple, but like Sony is still a huge multi-billion-dollar tech company. It's like I just don't understand why this is that much different,
Well,
and I've been trying to snag a plate.
I really hope yours gets there without any issues. And we should probably talk about the fact that you've been trying to snipe one for me on Walmart.
Yeah,
I tried unsuccessfully because the website keeps crashing.
I tried.
Not in your control.
I tried to get a PlayStation 5 for John Parker today at 12 p.m., at 3 p.m., at 6 p.m., at 9 p.m. All 4 of those time slots, I was unable to get past the point of asking for my credit card information. Every time when I got the thing into my cart, it would take me to my order. I would put all my card information in, the shipping details, and I would press place order, and it would just crash completely, and it would just tell me that the item was no longer available, and it would kick it out of my cart. So that's been a nightmare too. So I really apologize to John, the love of my life, that I haven't been able to get you a PlayStation.
Hey man, I appreciate you trying. You're my boots on the ground guy. You're like Han Solo on the Forest Moon of Endor trying to turn off the shield. And I'm like Lando up in the skies trying to get into the Death Star. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to win
Zach
a game.
Will get that PlayStation. We got to give him more time.
I'm trying to win a game of baklava or whatever they're playing in the casino. You know what I mean?
You just call it baklava. It's sabak, dude.
Sabak.
Get the fuck out of here. Baklava is like a Mediterranean dessert.
Well, John, I think now is the perfect time to insert our discussion of The Mandalorian. What do you think?
I think we should, and I think you're going to love the surprise.
All right, perfect. Why don't you introduce it?
So I have finally watched the first episode of Mandalorian. Last time Zach and I met, we both, had not seen it. He had seen it, I had not. And now we have both seen chapters 1 and 2, and I'm bringing a special guest on to talk to him about it. So without further ado, let's talk about some Mandalorian, Zach.
Mando. All right, so John, we're here. We just transitioned over to this part of the show. It's obviously a seamless edit if you're listening at home through the magic of technology. But we're about to talk Mando. That's The Mandalorian. Disney Plus is The Mandalorian. The first 2 episodes are live. The 3rd episode goes live tomorrow, Friday, November 13th. But we're just going to be talking full spoilers on the first 2 episodes, what we thought about the show and all that jazz. But John has done something different. He's keeping me in secret here. He's got some sort of surprise happening, and I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so I have requested the presence of a passenger, our very own frog lady, if you will.
Yeah,
to join our little adventure here.
Are we going to have to deal with like a bucket of eggs or some shit while we're dealing with this?
I hope not. But honestly, with this person, who knows what's going to be up? Sounds like they're trying to get into the Zoom so we can start talking a little bit about season 2. And then when they jump in, we can intro them and continue our discussion. So I gave them homework to make sure they got caught up on Mando before they showed up.
Okay. We don't want to dive too deep without getting this mystery person's perspective, but
yeah.
So, first 2 episodes we didn't watch. So I a couple weeks ago we did the episode, and I kind of gave my general impression of the episode, which was that I thought it was really good, more of the same. Did you? But you didn't watch the episode when I gave you my impression of it. Did you find the first episode at least to be higher than my original? Higher than my original opinion or lower than?
Can I go with the same?
Okay, that's an acceptable answer. It looks like it looks like a third person has joined the chat here.
Oh, have they arrived?
I don't know.
Hello.
Can you hear us, Lucas?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Then you can
Surprise. I brought Lucas with me.
Surprise, motherfucker. No, it's a perfect surprise. I love it. Hey, Lucas, how are you?
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. This is quite a shock. John, this is the most production you've ever put into the show.
This is the hardest I've ever worked for the podcast, to be honest with you. I have been texting with Lucas off and on about trying to bring him on. And I was like, oh, maybe he would want to talk about Mandalorian, but he hadn't seen season 2 yet. So, Lucas, did you watch the first 2 episodes?
I did watch the first 2 episodes, and they were very good.
All right. It's good. So we're all on the same page, so we can talk about it. But yeah, man, I thought it would be cool if we brought one of the greatest stories of this podcast's history, which is dating all the way back to we got hammered and saw Thor Ragnarok. A fantastic episode. Yeah. And we've planted the seed and talked about you, Lucas, so much on this podcast. I thought it'd be cool if we popped your Radiovania cherry and
love it.
Brought you into the fold.
Yeah.
So, have you ever done a podcast before?
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you.
I have not.
So
No.
Okay. All right. Well, we are doing our Mandalorian episode 1 and 2 discussion. So that being said, you said they were really good. Which of the 2? I'm just going to go ahead and right out the gate, guns blazing. Which of the 2 do you guys like more?
Oh, this is tricky.
Yeah, Zach, you go first, and then we'll go to Lucas.
Yeah,
we haven't had to do 3 people in a while. So.
Yeah, I'll shoot it out the gate. I don't know, man. I think I like the first episode more. I think. I mean, they're both pretty similar. And we can talk about this more when we get into broader opinions on the show and the season as a whole. But both of these episodes felt a lot like the bottle episodes of the first season, where it's like there's really no, they don't really touch on the overall story or any of like the like the driving plot stuff, like what's happening with Baby Yoda, what's happening with the Jedi, what's happening with the Mandalorian people and this character and Moff Gideon and all these characters. It's like both the first and the second episode are all just kind of like, here's a little space adventure. And so it's kind of hard to pick one over the other. I think they're both interesting. The first one is kind of like a Western, and then the second one is kind of like John Carpenter's The Thing. So
or like Alien or something.
Yeah, right. So it's like, I don't know. They're both kind of like almost equal in my mind. I think I enjoyed both of them just about the same. I think the thing that pushes the first episode over the edge for me was Timothy Oliphant and like the Western-y tone.
Yeah, as the Marshal.
Yeah.
So that, since I don't know if you guys knew, maybe you watched Easter egg videos or whatever, but that character is actually from one of the books, which I thought was pretty cool that they brought that into the fold. It was one of the books. Yeah, it was one of the first like post Disney acquisition books that came out.
So this is
it's called Aftermath, and it's he's the marshal of that town that wears Boba Fett's armor.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So that whole little like backstory that he gives while they're riding on the bikes, and he's like, "We didn't even have a minute to celebrate," and it's like all of that stuff is like an interlude chapter in one of the books.
So this is technically canon still, though. Then it's not like the Timothy Zahn books or whatever.
No, yeah, it's definitely canonical. I'll go next, and then we can go to you, Lucas. I really like both of the episodes so far. Sure. I like chapter 2 quite a bit. the passenger. I was like, as soon as they showed the frog lady, I was like, what the fuck is this episode going to be about?
I love the puppet though, like the prosthetic or whatever it was. It was great. It looked great.
Yeah, after the episode finished, I'm all in on the frog people. I actually want the frog people to have a bigger part of the show.
So I don't know.
I hope that happens.
I don't know if you saw, but the Pop Funko vinyl like figurines.
Yeah.
They released one this past week, which is Yoda, Baby Yoda, and the egg carrier tank. Yeah.
So let's just not beat around the bush. What do you guys think about Yoda eating the eggs? Because
I thought it was hilarious.
Some people find it horrifying.
So funny.
I agree, but let me paint a picture for you. This is the last of their race, and I think
that's supposed to be part of the comedy, though, right?
They're not fertilized yet, but he's literally preemptively committing genocide against the frog people, right? Or am I looking at this to veganize?
Veganize.
I think really aggressive.
It was really aggressive,
but it is really funny.
Yeah, that little popping sound that it makes when he like pops one in his mouth, it's like he's eating a gumball.
So it reminded me of I don't know if either of you guys will get this reference, but there's an episode of Futurama where the main character finds this race of this race on a foreign planet that lays eggs in these like patches on the ground, but the eggs look and taste exactly like chicken nuggets. And so like the whole point of the episode is that this guy thinks that it's like there's going to be this genius business venture to like sell these things that they think are just like chicken nuggets or whatever, but they ended up turning out to be like these unfertilized eggs for this alien race. And I thought that was a very interesting connection. I'm very, like you said, John, I'm curious to know if this frog lady person, the passenger as they're calling her, is going to play a bigger role in the show going forward, or if she's just going to kind of be here for this episode.
I mean, I think it's pretty much, I think it's pretty much locked in that she'll be in the next episode, given that this one kind of is on a little bit of a cliffhanger. But
yeah, right.
I hope we get Frog Lady's husband.
Yeah.
I hope he fertilizes those eggs and we get some frog babies.
You want to see that on screen, don't you?
I do.
Bitch.
The next episode is directed by I don't even know, a
Quentin
film
Tarantino
director, but sure, yeah, why not? Or the Game of Thrones guys. But
yeah, right.
Lucas, what did you think about the first two episodes? What would you like the most, and
I think
just overall thoughts? We also haven't talked to you about season 1 at all, so.
Well, so season 1, before I get to the first 2 episodes, I watched all until the last 2 episodes, which I thought I had watched all of season 1. And so I had to go back and watch the end of season 1 before I got to season 2. Okay. And the way season 1 ends is so epic. And it reinvigorated what I liked about the show going forward. And sure. I think the first episode I liked better than the second episode, but that doesn't mean the second episode was bad.
Yeah, right.
The first episode, I think just with I forget what the dragon, its full name is, but just that whole scene with, I forget what they're called, the Tuscans, or whatever the Sand People's name is.
So
when they're putting that buffalo out in front of the cave. And just watching you awesome. Go out and eat the guy first instead of the buffalo. That was so good.
It was great too, because that shit's shot like a comedy movie where it's the two of them side by side, and then it's as the guy's running away from the thing, and then it was awesome. I thought side note, I thought the special effects in this season just overall look way better than anything in season 1. They definitely started dumping more money into it.
That's one of the cool things too about Disney Star Wars is say what you will about overall, how good they are in terms of plot. Visually, they all look really cool because we have these advanced 2010s even visual effects, and all the recent Star Wars movies just they look awesome with all these cool animatronic puppets and visual effects for the space battles and stuff. So yeah, I agree. The show looks awesome so far, especially the ice caves and stuff like that. In this most recent episode is really dope. That spider sequence is horrifying. It's my waking nightmare.
Dude, yeah. So my brother is so afraid of spiders, and when they first start cracking out the eggs, I was like, "Oh, Jeff, my brother can't watch this. He will be terrified."
Yeah.
That shit's my nightmare. 100%.
Yeah. It's just, and they're just unrelenting. I was just screaming while he's trying to close the door of the cockpit. And they're just
that was awesome.
They're just piling up World War Z or something. And finally he gets the idea to torch them.
Wait, so I do have a question though with the first episode.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure about this, but the Marshal is wearing Boba Fett's Mandalorian armor, right?
Yes.
Okay, and
they do an interesting job of never saying his name. Yeah, and I think I think I could say with 99% certainty that is Boba Fett at the end of the episode.
Okay, because 99%. I was pretty sure. I just didn't want to jump to any conclusions, because I skipped so long from watching the show and then coming back in to watch the end of the first season, the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, I think it is pretty interesting that they don't ever say his name, because who gives a shit about a guy who's been in a Sarlacc pit for 10 years? You know what I mean? So it's when the Marshal buys the armor off of the Jawas, he probably has never run into Boba Fett before. If he has, he probably didn't know exactly what he looked like. Right. But yeah, I think it's pretty much confirmed that it's supposed to be Boba Fett. So,
and again, I did enjoy. This whole entire Mandalorian thing has been a real exercise for me in like tempering my expectations. Because I don't know. I'm a huge Marvel fan. I'm a huge fan of the MCU, and I was so excited when I found out that Disney Plus was going to be helming all of these Marvel properties, like the WandaVision show, which we'll talk about in the main show, Loki, Captain, like the Falcon and Winter Soldier, all this stuff. And I was super excited about the Star Wars TV shows. But then the first season was like, I really didn't like it watching through it the very first time because I expected a really grand story. And what it was more of like a kind of like a episodic, here's what he's doing in this little town, and then he goes off and does something else, and here's what he does in this little area, and then there's a jailbreak, and then it kind of wraps it up in a bow at the end. And so it's curious to me watching this second season where I feel like I'm enjoying it more because I'm more prepared for what it is, which is just kind of like rando space adventures.
Yeah,
but it still doesn't. It stopped me from wondering like, the finale of last season ended with fucking Giancarlo Esposito fucking holding the Darksaber, and he needs to take this thing to the Jedi, and we're not really like moving very far on the plot. So, and this season is only 8 episodes too, right? Like, isn't it the same amount of episodes?
probably.
I'm just curious how they're going to fit all this shit into the rest of the season. Like, I don't know.
Here's what I'll say about that. With Star Wars, the nice part about things is that you can just light speed jump to the next place you need to go.
Right.
So let's say next episode or even episode 4, he finally finds this Mandalorian covert that's supposed to lead him to the Jedi. All they have to be is like, oh yeah, they're on this planet. And then it's like, zoom, we're there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So they can quickly cover ground with episodic Star Wars storytelling in the same way that they did with most of the episodes last season. But yeah, I do agree with you. I thought it was pretty interesting that the first 2 episodes have been, which I think are fantastic. They've been more of just like, just again, kind of like slowly adventuring of the week. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, they're making their way to a Mandalorian covert, but you know, they're going to take a detour to Tatooine and his ice planet first because he crashes there. But I did like in episode 2 how they brought back the jailbreak episode by mentioning those bounties and stuff like that when those X-Wing guys show up at the end. But otherwise, like that episode gets brought into the episode 2, the passenger, in 2 ways. One of which is the X-Wing pilots talking about how he saved the life of tried to save the life of that New Republic commander of the prison ship, as well as capturing those 3 by the end of the episode. And the other tie to that episode is the fact that the droid is apparently still on his ship and he hasn't just like thrown it away. And the frog lady uses it to communicate to him.
I guess I just completely missed that connection, but I don't know. I would not disagree with you, but I would say I don't think I would classify the first 2 episodes as fantastic. I would call them very entertaining, but again, like the thing with Star Wars that gets me is like the visuals and the callbacks and fan service are all cool, but to me, it's an engaging story. And the engaging story of The Mandalorian is that there's this child, this Jedi or force sensitive, very powerful being. And I want to know what his purpose is and where he's supposed to be and what he is and where he's supposed to go. And that to me is the interesting hook. And I'm not like, I think it's very entertaining watching Mando fight, face huggers from the Alien movies, but I don't necessarily think that it's the most engaging story. But my prediction is, just because this is classic Radiovania, is that tomorrow the 3rd episode comes out. I bet you that shit's going to be like everything I want. And then we're going to have to come back in a week or 2 and be like, well, Zach was wrong. It actually ended up turning a corner.
Probably.
But Lucas, what was your over, like, I mean, Are you a big Star Wars fan? Like, did you really enjoy the first season? Obviously, you like didn't finish it out the first time. Like, what did you What are your overall thoughts of it right now?
So the reason why I didn't finish out the first season, like in entirety, because I watched it over like Christmas break, and I got to episode 6 in that brief period before I went home for Christmas, and then I just never got back to it. Everything that the reason why I watched all 6 episodes was because it was so compelling, and why it got my attention, and I really liked it. And I don't know if I would call myself that I really love Star Wars, but I go see all the movies and I've seen all the movies, so I definitely like the series. But with The Mandalorian, it's kind of a different tone from the movies, in the sense that the Star Wars movies are all about the Jedi and about the Force.
Mm-hmm.
And with The Mandalorian, it's more about discovering what the Force is with the child. So I think watching the first 2 episodes, or the last 2 episodes of the season, to get prepared for this, it like reignited what I liked so much in the show.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
So I already said I mean, the first episode with the dragon and like that, it's so like, it's very, very good.
Yeah. I brought it up like last week, and I didn't want to, because I briefly I had watched the episode before JP had watched the episode, and so I kind of just gave like spoiler-free general impressions. But the funniest thing to me about the very first episode is that the Krayt Dragon is like a callback to Knights of the Old Republic, like the old Star Wars video game, and that when you killed the thing in the video game, you got the shiny pearl. And it's like, that is such a deep fucking cut reference that makes me like respect that episode 1,000 times more. So,
my favorite deep cut.
I did not.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I didn't know what the pearl was. I thought it was maybe like a ball that they lost during like a game, and they were like, "We got the ball back."
God, I hope that's actually what it was.
Yeah.
Someone out there, please Photoshop that image of someone out there in Radiovania land. Photoshop the photo of the Jawas, but the text on the screen and subtitles says, "We got our ping pong ball back," or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, they're playing kickball in the desert, and the Krayt Dragon takes it. Yeah,
that's perfect.
Sandball.
Yeah. My favorite Easter egg of the first episode was the fact that the Marshal's speeder is Anakin Skywalker's pod racer engine.
Yeah, what the fuck? Do you think they're ever going to ever mention that shit?
They're bringing pod racing into the fold, even a little bit.
They're never going to mention that shit ever, right? That's just a visual Easter egg. Like, they're never going to talk like...
I don't know. If there was an episode of The Mandalorian where Mando had to pod race to save Baby Yoda's life, I would be all for it.
Pod racing is
not that bad.
Pod racing is not that bad. I think it might be one of the better sequences of the Phantom Menace.
It's definitely one of the better sequences, and it's a great arcade game.
It is a great arcade game. That's true.
Yeah. Whenever you go to Dave and Buster's and you're like 5 beers deep, you're like, I can feel the force. Let me fucking do this shit. Hop in the pod, crash into the wall instantly because it's so hard to control.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm always 5 beers deep in a pod, but that's just me.
Yes.
Oh,
man.
Well, I'm curious. I don't know. Thoughts of the rest of the season? Like, does anybody have any shocking or hot takes about what might happen? I don't know. Any predictions?
I have a hot take.
All right, go for it.
I have a hot take. I bet you get one of the 3 characters. I think either Han, Luke, or Leia will make an appearance.
Whoa. I will take that drink bet and say that none of the original cast from any Star Wars movie will be in this.
So what if R2-D2 or C-3PO show up? Then do I win? Is that what the drink bet is? Is original trilogy characters? Because if so, I'll definitely take that.
Original trilogy human characters.
Boo. So no Chewie either?
No Chewie.
All right. I'll take that bet.
So you think that a human or humanoid character from 4, 5, and 6 will be in the Mando season 2?
Yeah, in some way, shape, or form, like on a hologram or a appearance or something. Not a reference, but like actually appearing in some way, shape, or form. I think they're with this most recent episode in particular, they're playing up trying to set the stage of what the New Republic is like after the Empire. And I think if I had to pick one, the most likely will either be Luke or Leia because of
no way
the fact that he's looking for Jedi, but I think it'd be more likely that it's Leia.
So they're gonna digitally de-age and CGI Carrie Fisher again for this,
or it's like a recast or something. I don't know.
I mean,
they already did it. They already did it once with her daughter in Rise of the Skywalker for that flashback scene. They just painted her face over a little bit, because her daughter looks a little bit like her. So it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think like they cast. Remember, like the casting call stuff. Like they already casted Ahsoka and that other girl from Rebels or whatever, and then we also have Boba Fett in the mix. Like that's a lot of characters to juggle, in addition to a show that already doesn't focus on characters very much. So,
yeah, like I said, I think it's probably more likely that it could be Luke or Leia, but we'll see. And if I lose, I will
take that drink bet. With
Lucas, I'll buy you a beer too, even though you aren't getting any action on this side bet. So
That's okay. I remember seeing something about the droid in the episode 2, where he comes back to what's the planet? Tatooine, and when he first lands, there's the droids that run onto the ship that he's okay with now, which I guess is character progression because he didn't like droids.
Yeah,
but
the pit droids.
The droid
the pit droid.
There's one that rolls up that looks like R2-D2, but it's red.
Lucas, I'm glad you brought this up.
I remember seeing something that's like a callback to something, but I didn't necessarily understand it. So maybe you
Zach,
guys
do you know what this is?
Is this R4 or whatever?
So this is the droid that Amy Sedaris' character uses is R5 something. And he is the droid that Luke Skywalker and Owen Lars purchased in the original Star Wars movie. And then its head exploded because it had a bad motivator, and they got R2-D2 instead.
This droid has a bad motivator.
Yeah. So that's a nice little callback. And she's like complaining about how he's horrible at his job the whole time and stuff like that, which I thought was pretty funny. But
that's cute.
Yeah. Good plug there for the Easter egg, Lucas.
I try my best.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, new episode tomorrow, at least a couple. Honestly, Mandalorian and Star Wars aside, like I was talking about this with my girlfriend, but it's like it's kind of nice to have something new coming out every week in a world where we can't go to the theaters. And
I used to want them to just binge drop it so I could just watch through the whole thing, but I like having something to look forward to.
Yeah, it's really cool, and like we're going to talk about in the main show, but like the first MCU Disney Plus show starts in January, so theoretically Mando is just going to kind of run right into that. So it's going to be nice to have like a weekly kind of show to talk about, finish it, text with your friends about it, see what you thought. I know I was really critical of the first season of Mandalorian, but I think the second season it seems a lot more fun, and the production budget is a little bit higher. And I don't know, I'm holding out hope that maybe if they keep doing this like episodic thing, that maybe like the last 4 or 5 episodes of the season are just like banger after banger in terms of plot. But I don't know. That's just my personal hope. But
what about you, Lucas? What do you What are you hoping happens the rest of the season? Or are you more along for the ride?
Well, I think it'll be interesting to see what the third episode goes with, because I think that kind of will set the tone for the rest of the season. Because if the frog husband or the male frog actually knows
Mr.
a
Frog.
Mandalorian, if Mr. Frog actually knows a Mandalorian, then that can set up the rest of the season.
Sure.
So
it'd be so funny if he didn't and she just wanted to get her eggs fertilized.
well, the thing is, like part of me thinks that part of me thinks that this was just an easy way to get to it, which Mrs. Frog has all right to do that.
Like, I really hope this is her official name in the casting. It's like Mrs. Frog.
Yeah, she needs to save her race. So, but I think in episode 3 you'll see some sort of story development meeting another Mandalorian, and maybe that is what propels the rest of the season going forward in knowing where the child or Baby Yoda is from. So
yeah, I mean, it's like in that main trailer, the trailer for this season, one of the backing voices is like, he comes from a race of beings known as Jedi. So it's like eventually in this season, someone's going to say the word fucking Jedi. When's it going to happen? Someone say Jedi.
But at the same time, I'm not super anxious about getting to more Jedi, because I feel like we've had a lot of Jedi lately.
We have.
Let me get a frog Jedi, and then I'm all in.
Yeah.
Fred Eye Mercury.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm glad we got to bring in a fresh voice to talk about Star Wars, Zachary.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
But before we close out this segment and let Lucas get back to playing FIFA or whatever, I thought it'd be interesting if Lucas told the story, our origin story of how the three of us met from his point of view.
Oh wow! Okay, we're gonna we're gonna record it. It's gonna be in history.
Yeah, on the pod, because spoiler alert, folks, Lucas was the only sober one at our meeting. So whenever we introduced him in that Thor episode many moons ago have passed. We probably did it through our drunk glasses of transcribing that story. So I thought it'd be cool if Lucas, talked about it a little bit.
Well, I don't really remember what the movie you guys were seeing, but it was probably an Avengers movie.
Yeah, it was Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah. Yes. But I was working at a bar at the theater, and you guys came in. I don't know if you guys came in together or one after another, but I know I was just giving you guys drinks. At one point, I think, John, you bought me a drink. You bought me a Long Island, which I could not drink on the clock. So
you were working.
Right. I literally hid it in a cooler. So I was like, I'm not going to throw this out. I made it, so I'm going to drink it later.
That's great.
But yeah, so it was just you guys drinking, and then you guys went and saw the movie, and I remember talking to you guys all about the podcast, and it sounded like a really fun idea. And then I don't remember if you guys came back after the movie. I don't know if the bar was open.
I think we came back, but I don't know if the bar was open.
Yeah, that's a thing. I don't know. I don't remember when you bought the drink that I ended up having.
From what I remember, Zach and I were at the Torpedo Room, which is where you used to work. We're going to throw names at it because you don't work there anymore.
R.I.P. Torpedo Room.
Yeah.
At Gateway Film Center in Columbus. And what I remember, and maybe this will jog your memory a little bit, Lucas, is that Zach and I pre-gamed hard before the movie. And then we went and watched the movie, but I kept coming back. Like, I left the theater, and people probably thought I was the biggest jackass. I left the theater like 6 times to come back and get more drinks, and you were still working, obviously. So I'd come in and talk to you for like 4 minutes, and I'd be like, oh, I got to get back to the movie, and like have you make me another drink. And that's probably when I was like, here's the Long Island. Jeez Louise, man. And Zach was like comatose after.
Yeah, I got wrecked. I got absolutely wrecked. I don't think this is. I'm gonna have to go back and do some like research and photos, but this doesn't. I have photos of us closing down the torpedo room and helping put chairs back up on tables.
I do remember that.
Was this the first time, or was that a different time?
Well, I think it has to be the first time because it's the only time we met him.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So that has to be it then.
Right. And then the second time was when Allie, my girlfriend, was working the bar, and I was just there visiting her. And then you guys had just happened to walk in, and we're seeing a movie, and then we ended up going out again.
Let me put it, Lucas, let me put it this way. It was not happenstance that we just walked in and you were there. Zach and I went back to Gateway probably 3 or 4 times after Thor, and we would always be like, we hope Lucas is working. And we get there and you weren't there, and we'd ask the employees and they'd be like, oh yeah, he still works here, but he's not working tonight. And we're like, this kid doesn't fucking exist. Like, he was a figment of our imagination. And then I don't even remember what movie it was, Zach, but we came in and Allie was bartending and you were sitting there. And like, I went to the bathroom initially and I came back, and that's when I saw your like side profile as you were talking to her. And I was like, Zach, I think that's a Lucas guy. Should we ask him? And then the reunion started, and I was like, hey kid, are you Lucas?
Hey kid, are you? Well,
oh yeah, that's the story.
It's a great story, and it's one that we've told and retold, and now it's great to have a great different perspective. And Lucas, this is very special. I'm glad John reached out to you, but you're welcome on the show anytime. I'm sure we'll hopefully, God willing, one of these days, maybe we could rendezvous back up at the old Gateway and, have a few Long Islands and black out as a family.
Yeah, because Lucas, you don't work there anymore, right? So we can all just go and be monsters.
Yeah, I'm not there anymore, so we can light it up.
Hell yeah.
Sounds wonderful. If not, we're gonna buy the torpedo room and open it back up. And then,
yes,
we run it in the way that we would want to.
We run it like the Thunderdome. All right. Well, I think I got the notification a little bit ago that we passed our 40-minute time thing for the Zoom free account thing. So we might have to stop it here, just so we save the recording, because I want this whole thing to be in the episode. But
agreed.
Lucas, thank you for joining us. This was awesome.
Well, I'm just happy I could be here.
We're very happy that you could be here.
It's nice to hear from you, man, for sure. We hope you and Allie are both doing well, and hopefully one day our paths all cross again, for sure.
Yeah.
Agreed.
We'll drive out to California.
Hell yeah, you
Perfect.
will.
Yes. All of you road trip out here. I will treat you to Santa Cruz's finest. We will have just copious foods and drink. And,
it's just beaches and bourbon. That's basically all it is out there.
It's just Modelo and
sounds like my paradise.
Yeah.
All right.
Lucas, is good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, you too.
And we're back. Hey, John, did you know that Dogma released on this day 21 years ago on November 12th, 1999?
And Michael Richard was born on this day 26 years ago.
Happy birthday, Michael Richard.
Happy birthday, Dogma.
Michael Richard was also not able to get a PlayStation pre-order today because he was trying to. So.
Pour some out for the homie.
I'm going to pour some wine into my mouth for the homie.
Fantastic.
But yeah, Dogma. What a flick. Really, really great. One of my favorite of the of US Universe. Up there with Chasing Amy and Mallrats. I think those are my 3 favorites of the bunch.
Yeah, unfortunately, Dogma you cannot rent on Amazon. You have to pirate it or stream it on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I was able to stream the entirety of the video on YouTube.
It's so sacrilegious that no streaming service wants to support it, apparently.
Well, it's frustrating because I think that, and not to turn this into a whole discussion, but it's like, I think that because it had a reputation back in the day that has carried itself with it. Because like I watched Dogma this past summer, and I didn't like, as someone that used to be a pretty devout Christian and someone that went to a Christian college, like I found nothing about Dogma more offensive than anything on SNL in terms of like a religious sketch. Like I think that Dogma is a very clever comment, or like a South Park. I think that Dogma is a very clever commentary on religion and, you know, the religious organizations. And like, I found nothing offensive about it. And I found it incredibly hilarious and insightful and oftentimes very apt. And so I think it's just one of those movies where it's like, I think it's held on to this controversy, and one of these days it'll be available on some sort of streaming platform. I hold that hope out.
Yeah, probably a Kevin Smith Plus type.
I'd pay $6.99 a month for that shit.
Would you?
I don't know. If there was like a lot of content.
Dogma. Yeah, maybe if the podcasts were included, I would invest in that for sure.
Every podcast that he does, ad free, all the movies, all the commentaries, all the behind the scenes. I think that might be worth. I might subscribe for a month, watch all that shit, and then bounce. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
But Dogma, check it out. It's available pretty easily on all services. And then also Michael Richard, check him out. He's on Tinder. You can probably find him on. All right, moving on.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. Big dick, as I've heard. Huge salon.
Huge. Hacking the salami.
Yeah, that's right.
Michael, the thick dick Richard.
He's currently 2-6 in our fantasy league. That helps you out at all. Also, if anybody out in the Radiovania audience would be interested in joining Radiovania Fantasy League, please let us know. That could be fun. That could be fun.
Email me if you have any ideas for how to save my team.
Here's what he shouldn't have done. He probably shouldn't have given away Adam Thielen and another dude for James Conner. I'm just. I think that was a good.
I think that was a good trade.
I think it's a good trade for someone that's holding on to the idea of tanking. But you could have come back.
No, I couldn't have.
I don't know, man. I think. Well, it's a topic for another day. But
no, I don't have another running back. I every week I only score 20 points at 2 running back positions because I only have one good one. Whereas like I have 5 good wide receivers that can put up double digits. So I traded one of my best ones. I would say he's probably my 3rd best one. Paul, if you're listening, I'm sorry. But in my opinion, I got you. I was able to keep McLaurin and Lockett in exchange for a really good running back that should put up 15 or more points per week, which is just what I need to get me out of this hole that I'm in, which is being 4-5, which is a fucking horrendous showing from my guy, John Parker. So...
Well, anyway, I wish you the best. I wish you the best of luck. I think that it might have been because, like, looking at Adam Thielen's schedule going forward, I would have traded for way higher than just James Conner. But that's personally just me. Like, I think Adam Thielen has the chance to bounce back in a high percentile in the next.
The problem is also the fact that he has. Oh God, what's his name? I don't even know his quarterback's name, but like
Lamar Jackson.
No, that guy, the Minnesota quarterback can have real bad
I know.
In which case, Thielen only gets 4 points like the past 2 weeks. So
yeah.
Whereas like I know Seattle's offense is going to be good, and I know that McLaurin's the only good offensive option in Washington. So.
Scary Terry, baby.
Plus, I got Antonio Brown back, and I know the last
he's a
week
piece
was
of
a
shit.
fluke.
He's flopping. He's flopping.
He's not flopping. Tom Brady was flopping, but he's gonna be fine.
Drink bet. You ready?
I don't know if I can do two drink bets in one episode.
Antonio Brown doesn't score more than 16 fantasy points in the next 3 games.
Combined or per week?
No. Per week.
So like 1 week, he has to
I don't
score
think
more
in
than
any
16
of the
for me to win?
Yes, I don't think in any of the next 3 weeks he scores above 16 fantasy points.
I'll take that bet. I'll just buy you a 6-pack at the end of the year because I'm going to lose all these. So.
All right, it's time for News
Enjoy
Flashpoint.
your Natty Light.
I'll love my Natty Light, baby. News Flashpoint. We don't have a theme song for it, so I'm just gonna sing News Flashpoint.
Guess what?
What?
Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the presidential race, baby.
And it was all because of the Radiovania endorsement.
Yub nub, each of a wub nub, each of a wub nub, baby.
Yep. No.
People are literally celebrating in the streets.
Yep. No.
People are celebrating around the world, and our current lame duck president refuses to admit that he's lost because he's a child. So
yeah, it's incredible.
I think that's all we really need to say about that. But for those of you that were riding out last week, election week, like I was, very stressed, take a deep breath because it's over. So.
I will say it's one of the most, every now and then you have those moments where while it's happening to you, you think like, man, in a few years, this is going to be really one of those moments I've look back on fondly. And I found out about Joe Biden winning while I was at work. And I was helping out a customer while I was at work, and I was talking to them and, helping out a situation that we were dealing with. I think it was like with a product return or something. And my phone kept buzzing in my pocket and it was distracting me. So I pulled my phone out of my pocket and I put it face down on the table, and I didn't even think about it at all. And as soon as I was done with this transaction, the customer left and I pulled up the phone and I saw that it was multiple texts from my girlfriend, Carly. And as soon as I saw the text, I didn't see what the messages were because my phone wouldn't auto unlock because I'm wearing a mask because of Face ID and all that stuff. As soon as I kind of like put it together in my mind, what I think might have happened, I looked over to the girl that I was working with, my other assistant store manager, and her phone started vibrating the instant I looked over at her, and it was her boyfriend calling her. And we looked at each other, and I told her, I was like, I think I know why he's calling. I think it has to do with the presidency announcement or whatever. And so she opened up the phone and she answered the phone, and I put in my password and I saw that my girlfriend Carly had texted me. They called Pennsylvania and Joe Biden won. And we literally it was me, my coworker, and then my boss who came in a little bit later. And all three of us had this awesome moment where in such a struggling environment, which is like retail during a pandemic, and dealing with assholes not wearing masks and people being dickholes just day to day. It was such a moment of levity that I can't ever imagine forgetting for the rest of my life. And it was a very powerful moment.
Yeah, I found out before I went into work, but I was able to just kind of, deliver all my packages that day. And just everyone in Santa Cruz just seemed genuinely happy that I interacted with, lots of people that are can't be sad on a day like today, stuff like that. And
that's
so,
awesome.
I mean, it was literally like World War II was over. You know what I mean? It was just there were parades everywhere. It was just wild to me that this is just we're literally celebrating something that happens every 4 years. It's something that's so monumental. And it is. I mean, we're literally getting out under the oppression of a fascist, racist, misogynist, all the ists. You know what I mean? It's just
all the ists. Yeah.
It's just good to know that it's not going to be. I mean,
no, it's going to be a hard fight. It's going to be a hard fight. It's going to be a rough 4 years.
No problem is going to be solved overnight, and it's still going to be a rough 4 years, but it can't be any worse than what we just went through. So
I agree wholeheartedly.
But let's talk about some other sad things real quick, and then we'll switch over to some fun stuff.
Yeah.
So since the last time we recorded, we have lost 2 monumental figures in pop culture.
Yes, we have.
One of which is the actor Sean Connery, best known for his portrayal of James Bond in the 60s and 70s. And Zach and I's favorite portrayal, I think, is as Henry Jones Sr. in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
I 100% agree. So even as the resident James Bond fan between the two of us, you would still say that your favorite portrayal of Sean Connery is Henry James?
Oh, for sure.
Or Henry Jones.
Henry Jones, yeah, definitely. Indiana Jones 3 is better than any James Bond movie.
Wow.
Shots fired at Bond.
Whoa, really? Better than any James Bond film?
For sure.
Wow.
10 out of 10. I ride or die for Indy. Yeah, come on. James Bond is cool, but are you as cool as a guy who can wear a hat the entire time he's riding on a horseback fighting a tank? I don't think so.
This is true. This is a true fact.
Fun fact, Indiana Jones, also known as Harrison Ford, had to staple the hat to his head to keep it on during that tank sequence because it was so breezy.
He did not staple it to his head.
He did. Harrison did all of his own stunts in the first 3, and it kept flying off. And they were like, we're going to have to get you a tighter hat, or maybe we'll like figure out a way to glue it. And he's like, just give me a stapler. And they gave him a stapler, and he went click, 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 and just stapled it to his head. And then they kept going.
This seems unbelievable. I can't believe that Harrison Ford would risk his head with a stapler.
I think you should look it up, man. He was very committed to the role. Yeah, for sure. You could be cool, but you'll never be that cool. You know
No.
But yeah, so Sean Connery, big bucket of win, many decades of, being a sex icon as well as just being, a really good actor. Another great performance is in Highlander.
I thought Christmas only came once a year.
That is not a Sean Connery Bond quote, but I appreciate you bringing it up.
Wait, that's not? Is that Pierce Brosnan?
That's Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, okay. Shit. Sorry.
No, you're good. But we also lost a big icon in television.
Yes.
And this is one that Shelby, as a big Jeopardy fan, shout out to my sister, was very upset about, which is Alex Trebek passed away after battling pancreatic cancer. Died at the age of 80. This was all something that we knew he was struggling with as in recent months particularly, but he continued to do Jeopardy up until, his time of passing, which is very sad. He's been on that show for decades, right, Zach? I mean,
yeah, since before, I think it was like in 1980 was his first show. That sounds right to me. 80 or 81. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Something
like that. But they did announce that the last episode that he filmed will air on like December 21st or something, December 20th this year. Which is just crazy. I mean, the craziest thing about this to me is that like, I love Jeopardy. I think it's a cool game show. I wasn't a huge fan of it growing up, but like, cause I always thought it was really fascinating to watch, but it was smarter than me. But I always loved Alex Trebek, and I thought that he was such a cool personality. And the craziest thing is like how much people revere him and how much people like love him, and that speaks to me so deeply for just appreciating personality in Hollywood, like the people that are actually genuine. And last week, I think it was like literally like 5-6 days before it was announced that he passed away, like there was that video of that the Jeopardy contestant that was on air there's this, you should look it up, go on YouTube, check this shit out. It'll bring you to tears. But like the contestant is talking about how he's like, I used to watch you when I was a kid, and like you inspired me. And this contestant breaks down, like kind of sobbing on air, telling Alex Trebek how like he got him to where he is now. And then it wasn't a few days later when they announced that he had passed away. And it was like, wow, this dude was like making a lasting impression on people up until the year 2020, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, Trebek is kind of like one of those guys like Mr. Rogers, he's just like a household name for so many years, and, taken away in a really fucking tragic way. But yeah. R.I.P. Sean Connery, R.I.P. Alex Trebek. Thank you for all the years.
Two men whose legacies will live on for a long, long time. Both of them had a huge impact on their industries.
For sure. Definitely going to go watch some Indiana Jones later, for sure, after this. He slept with the Nazi girl, man. That's wild.
He's a swinger.
She talks in her sleep. Yeah. All right. Next news topic, real quick. The WandaVision premieres on January 15th on Disney+. This is going to be our first journey into a larger world that is Marvel Disney Plus television shows. We've gotten our trailer from Comic-Con, I believe, right, Zach?
That was right.
For the WandaVision show. This will be starring Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany. Zach, are you excited for the show?
I'm very, very excited. I think that trailer is excellent. I love the idea of it being like kind of like the nuclear family. I've never read the Vision comic book, like the where he constructs his own family, but this seems to be kind of like a twist on that formula. I think the more, I like the trailer. Did you, just before I get into my whole rant here, did you enjoy the trailer? Are you excited about this show in general?
No, yeah, I'm definitely excited about the show. You know how I feel about the Vision, but I do like Wanda Maximoff quite a bit, and I love the tone of the show. So yeah. I'm definitely excited for sure.
So this goes into my rant where it's like, yeah, I think this is going to be good. Like the trailer looks good. It looks like it could be goofy and fun. And I like the side character that they're bringing in is I can't ever remember this actress's name to save my life, but she's Paul Rudd's political advisor on Parks and Rec. You know what I mean?
Catherine Hahn.
Yes. Thank you. She's in the show too.
She's Adam Scott's wife.
In real life, really?
Yeah.
No shit. I didn't know that. Yeah,
because she's in Step Brothers with him and Parks and Rec. And
that's cool. Yeah. I didn't know that.
I mean, I think they're still married, but they were married at one point.
Right. But yeah, so I'm really, really into the show. But I think the more interesting pull from this is that it was at the beginning of 2020, there was that thing where they did the release dates for the MCU in 2020. And they listed Captain America, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and WandaVision as being both 2020 releases. Then coronavirus happens, and all these release dates go up in the air. Black Widow gets delayed. The Eternals gets pushed. Shang-Chi gets pushed. WandaVision and Winter Soldier and Falcon gets pushed, and then boom, the first official thing that we get now is like yesterday, I think it was, or whenever this news story broke, that WandaVision is coming on January 15th to Disney Plus, which, do you know what that means, John?
Does it mean we have to pay for it?
No. Well, no, it'll be free with subscriptions.
So
but
it's like Mando.
Yeah, it's like Mando.
Mulan.
But what this means is that 2020 is the first year since 2008 where no Marvel movie content was released. Isn't that crazy?
I think you mean 2009. Right?
Is it 2009?
Yeah, because 2008 was Hulk and Iron Man.
Yeah.
And 2009 was nothing, and then 2010 was Iron Man.
So then it was 2009. Yeah,
but that is wild to think, but that also is wild to think that it's only been 10 years.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
It seems
both
like the
ways,
MCU has been a part of my entire life.
Yeah. It's crazy to think about it both ways, but still, like, man, literally, there were supposed to be 2 TV shows and possibly 3 movies this year, and we got none of them. And this comes right after Endgame, which is the biggest movie of all time, the most successful movie ever. So, I don't know. It's just crazy.
Man. It's the worst.
It's the weirdest year. I would pay, like I was saying on our Mando review, I would pay $60 to watch Black Widow. I would invite, family members, be safe, obviously, bring them over. People that are being safe and, staying in their homes and, quarantining correctly. Like if you could have a group of 4 or 5 people that and you trust and you could have a fun movie night with, like, man, I'd watch Black Widow so hard right now, and that really frustrates me. And I would watch Tenet too, but it's like Tenet decided that they were too good for the VOD thing, so now they're just kicking our dicks around until December 15th when they decide to come out on Blu-ray. And it's like, all right, was this really worth it, Chris Nolan? Was it worth it?
The answer is no.
Sorry, I'm frustrated. I had to take a drink of wine because I'm just so frustrated. I miss Marvel. I miss movies. Everything sucks.
Yeah, Zach has been announcing before every topic that he's not going to go on a rant, and then he goes on a rant, which I think is really fucking funny. We're like, yeah, we'll breeze through the news. And it's like,
All right,
wait.
I'm done. No more rants. No more rants. I'm looking through everything else.
Talk about Johnny Depp.
Yeah, let's talk about Johnny Depp.
So Johnny Depp has exited the Fantastic Beasts franchise. This is a quote from his Instagram. I'm going to read it like Captain Jack Sparrow. I wish to let you know that I've been asked to resign by Warner Brothers for my role as Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts. And I have respected and agreed to that request. Why is the rum always gone? Depp's exit from the Harry Potter spin-off series comes days after he lost his libel case against The Sun, a British tabloid that published the article in 2018 alleging he was a wife beater against his former wife Amber Heard. Depp said that he plans to appeal the ruling. Warner Brothers confirmed Depp's departure and announced his role will be recast before the third installment opens in theaters. The studio has also pushed back the release date for the upcoming entry, which was supposed to be November 2021, which will now be summer of 2022. And Mads Mikkelsen is atop the list of actors being considered to replace him in Fantastic Beasts 3, yet to be titled, directed by David Yates.
I've got a job of acquisitions. I think
Mads Mikkelsen's actually a pretty good pick.
Yeah, I think this is the big like good news to come of this because
Galen Erso, baby.
Yeah, like Mads Mikkelsen, put him in everything. He's great. He's great in everything. He's great, especially in Death Stranding. I'm at you, Cal Taylor or Cal, whatever your last name is.
Smith.
Sorry, my landlord's name is Cal Taylor. Cal Smith.
Nice.
At Cal Smith. Mads Mikkelsen is great in Death Stranding. He's one of the best parts of that game. You didn't even get to him. Fucking at me. I don't care. Let's fight.
You guys can fight next time we talk.
We'll fight the next time we talk. But
he's not gonna support you. I'm sorry.
I wish he would have let me buy. I would have paid for him to play that game so that he would have had no like financial restrictions, so that maybe he would have liked
he'll
it
take
more.
Your money back.
Yeah, I'll pay Cal, if you're listening right now, Venmo at Zach Rotella or whatever, like Venmo request me however much you paid for the game and I'll pay that for you if you would just go back and finish the story because shit slaps hard. It's better than Lost. Story of that game, better than Lost. That's all you need to know. Anyway, I digress. I think that,
Zach is now wine drunk and making threats at my favorite show and targeting my uncle. So this pod's about to wrap up real fast.
No. So here's the thing is I'm curious to know where you sit because I think that Mads Mikkelsen is a good get for this job. I think that this whole Johnny Depp, Amber Heard and The Sun and like the publication, this whole issue is like super convoluted and very hard to like get a finger down on. I don't know how you feel about it. Hello.
Sorry, I lost the mute button there. My bad. I'm like an idiot.
I thought the raccoons got you.
Yeah, seriously, they ate me up. No, I mean I don't really like following these kinds of cases. I think they're both horrible people, probably. And I think we should just move on, to be honest with you.
Sure.
Even though she's Mara, I think they're both probably at fault here, but I don't really think we need to be involved. I do think it's the right move to get him out of the franchise, though, because not only is he dealing with a lot of stuff in his personal life, but he sucked as Grindelwald, man. He was horrible.
Here's the thing, though, is that I watched Crimes of Grindelwald, and I thought that Johnny Depp did okay. Like, I didn't hate him. I thought he had, like...
I liked Colin Farrell better as undercover Grindelwald.
I did as well, but then I thought that in Crimes of Grindelwald, like the sequel, I thought that they gave Johnny Depp, like, the ending monologue I thought was really good, and, like, that... The prison break sequence in the very beginning I thought was super creepy, and, like, I liked his look, but... I don't know. Do
you like him hitting the skull bong?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's because that's totally relevant. I don't know. Like John and I talked about in our text messages about the show. It's like Harry Potter is kind of like problematic in itself. Like this in the year of our Lord 2020. Like the wizarding world of Harry Potter is a little problematic because of J.K. Rowling. And I don't know, like I don't find myself, I really haven't liked any of the Fantastic Beasts movies. I didn't like either of them. I thought they were like totally fine and serviceable, but the last Harry Potter movie, the last Wizarding World movie I liked was Deathly Hallows. So I don't know.
Retweet, my friend. I don't really like either of them, to be honest with you.
I think
I didn't really like The Cursed Child, so
I never read it. Did you read it?
Yeah, we've talked about this on the pod before, long time ago. Not that great.
You never saw it. You never saw the play, though, right? Like you just
no, I didn't. But I don't even think that would necessarily make it better. I just think the story is really. It's like Back to the Future meets Harry Potter. I just don't think it's. They already did the time travel thing with the time turner in Azkaban. Oh my God.
Azkaban, best Harry Potter movie, hands down, no argument. Come at me, I don't care.
It's up there. I like Half-Blood Prince. That's my pick.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love that scene when he's taking the liquid luck and he's like wasted on good luck. You
have to remember the pincers.
Watch out for the pincers. Yeah,
it's good.
So anyway.
That could be a fun, after we finally fucking finish DCEU, that might be fun to do Harry Potter in review.
I would do Harry Potter in review for sure. I love those books, love the movies. So that could be pretty fun. We wouldn't have much to joke about, I don't think, but
there's some goofy shit in all those movies though. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like endearing, where it's like DC is just sad.
Well, we still need to do Birds of Prey, so we'll get there eventually.
We'll get there.
All right, what's next on the news?
Yeah, so real quick, the Jurassic World 3 and Fast and Furious 9 have wrapped filming. Jurassic World 3, I remember watching a news article about this. It took 18 months to film because of COVID, and they sunk close to like $8 million in COVID-19 preventative measures. So the production budget for this is like through the roof. But yeah, they're both wrapped, and we probably won't see them for 2 years. So that's cool.
So here's what I'll say. Jurassic World 3.
Here's a rant about Jurassic World. Here we go.
The Jurassic World 1, I thought sucked. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I never saw, but I heard that it was so terrible that I didn't need to see it. Jurassic World 3, it's following two movies that were somewhat controversial, but like decent box office draws. They put all this extra money into, filming during a pandemic and, insurance and, talk to our friend Judah Fawcett about, the cost of insurance for film production and COVID. I can't imagine a world where Jurassic World 3 makes its money back or makes a generous profit. Do you agree? Do you disagree?
No, I agree. I think it's going to lose money for sure. I think most movies that are trying to come out right now are going to lose money. But speaking of movies coming out,
yeah. So here's the other side of the coin, though, is Fast and Furious 9 was supposed to come out in like April of this year, but then they straight up delayed it an entire year and a half. So not that I'm saying that Vin Diesel and, the people behind the Fast franchise are like these entrepreneurial geniuses, but like they were one of the only movies that saw the writing on the wall and they were like, you know what, fuck this. This isn't going to get better. It's definitely not going to get better before the holiday season where we originally planned on putting it. So they delayed Fast 9 until like fall of next year, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, I actually think that Fast 9, and plus you got fucking Charlize Theron coming back. You got John Cena as the villain. It's like, I can see this movie fucking being like a huge boon if by the time that theaters are back open, like we're good for, vaccines and being in a theater and stuff like that. I think this could be good. I'm excited for Fast 9, baby. I bought over Amazon's been doing their Black Friday deals. I bought the Fast and Furious trilogy, not trilogy, the 8 quadrilogy or whatever on 4K for $40 or whatever. Fucking A, brother. Love it.
Living my life quarter mile at a time.
Whether you win by a mile or an inch, wins winning. Oh shit!
Good franchise. Good franchise for sure.
That's a great franchise. Fast 6, the GOAT.
Yeah. 6. That's a good one. I don't know. 7. The ending of 7 is so good.
6 and 7 are the two that I go back and forth. 6 is the one where it's like The Rock and Vin Diesel are like the most cartoony, which I really like. But 7 is the one with the tribute to Paul Walker, which makes me cry every time. So
yeah. R.I.P. man. So Zach is karaokeing all of our music because we don't want to get copyrighted.
Yeah, right.
So let's talk about AMC. So AMC is
let's
launching,
talk about AMC.
Let's move it along to AMC, our favorite movie theater.
Best company.
Psych. AMC launches private theater rental program. So customers can rent out a showing at any of AMC's 600 screening rooms nationwide for as low as $99 for 20 patrons. Recent releases such as Tenet, The War with Grandpa, and Freaky are available at $149, $100. So $150. Consistent with Amazon's or AMC's policy, Amazon, LOL. Outside food and drink may not be brought into the screening. So essentially, I'm going to sum this up for you guys really fast. You can watch a Chris Nolan movie that should have been delayed, or a Robert De Niro like rom-com type weird childish movie, and you have to starve yourself the whole time and wear a mask. So
yeah.
But it's only $150 for 20 people. And if you can find 20 people that want to see The War with Grandpa, then I commend you. So
here's what I'll say.
Okay.
Here's what I'll say.
All right.
I hate the theater. I would rather every big movie or any movie ever just come out day and date digital at home, and I can pay anywhere between $6 to $30 to $40 to $50 to watch it at home in the comfort of my home with my own snacks and my own liquor and my, in my pajamas or naked if I so choose. That being said, I do feel bad for the employees of these big theater chains, the people that are getting screwed around, not the stockholders, not the people on the top of the line, but I feel bad for the employees. Like I think about there's the AMC in Oakley near my house where there's an older black woman that works at the ticket counter that clearly is on a wheelchair and has some sort of disability, and she is, she takes this job for a supplemental income or whatever she does. But I think about that every time I hear about a news article where it's like, well, she's getting screwed out more than these shareholders are. It's like, I don't give a fuck if AMC survives, but it's like, I give a fuck whether this woman who, is maybe getting some extra money, or maybe this is her primary income. It's like, those are the people I really care about. I just don't see how, I don't know how viable this is, like this private theater rental program thing is. What do you think, John?
I think it's more viable than just going to see a movie outright. I mean, I would feel safer about it, but it's still, you should still be in the mindset of if you can avoid public places, like go for it, But it does suck for the employees. I mean, we just talked to a former theater employee with Lucas not too long ago. So.
Yeah, right.
It's sad, man. But like, we got to do what we can to get past this. And I think things like this are unnecessary breaches for, like, I would only go see Tenet, but I don't think I would pay to do this when I would. It's like you said, you preach this every episode that we do this, Zach. I don't know if you've gone back and listened to them, but it's like, I agree with you. Like $60 to watch it at home, or $150, maybe even if I can get that many people to help me pay for it, split 150 20
right.
ways. if it's 20 people that I trust, or maybe even less than that, like 5 people, that's still more affordable. So.
Yeah. Yeah, night at the movies, like typically before COVID, like a night at the movies, like a date night for me and my girlfriend. You got to think that's $12 to $14 a ticket, plus, you know, popcorn. That's $10 to $12 depending on where you're getting at the movies, or it's like $10 or $8 for a soda. And then you got to think about like driving there, or maybe parking there, and all the taxes and the Fandango fees if you want to reserve your seats ahead of time. It's like, really, the like if you factor all that stuff out and you just, you know, swallow the costs, like paying $30, $40, $50 for Tenet might just like circumvent it. And the thing that I was saying to Carly earlier today was that the Tenet I just hiccup. Wine, that is a wine burp. The pre-order for Tenet is live on Apple TV, like the Apple TV app. And it's $14.99, and it comes out December 12th or whatever. It's like, okay, fine, I'll wait. You guys forced me to, because I'm not going to the theater. I am not as much as I respect Christopher Nolan. I respect the hell out of him. He's a great director, maybe one of the best of our time. But it's like he's not giving up the ghost on this whole go to the theater to see my thing. It's like I'm not risking my health and the health of the others around me to go see Tenet. As much as I really like his movies, it's like, I'm just going to wait till December 15th or whatever. And I'll gladly pay $15 and I'll watch it at home. And John Parker and I will do a review on the show, because the fuck we will. You know what I mean? Charge that shit to the company card too. I'll pay for you to watch Tenet at home so that we can talk about it.
Daddy Warbucks over here.
Hell yeah, that's right. Daddy Warbucks.
Yeah. Anyway, we've preached about this enough.
Yeah, like, we've run this
enough. Yeah, enough. We get it. Like, you want to get the theaters back open, but guess what? It's not happening anytime soon. So let's talk about another flop. So Square Enix, the game developed company known for, you know, multiple JRPGs and Kingdom Hearts and stuff like that, also worked on the Avengers game. Apparently, they've lost a buttload of money on Marvel's The Avengers, the video game. There's a lot of figures here, but I'm just going to point out one of the most interesting ones to me, which is that it looks like the total cost of the game was $170 to $190 million. And it's in yen, it says that they lost like 6.5 billion, which is just wild, but they only sold about 3 million. Is that units or dollars there, Zach?
I would assume 3 million would be dollars, because they say implies game costs over 100 million to make, but only sold 3 million or so.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard that this game really tanked. I think we talked about this before, but it's, you know, there are some people that kind of enjoy it, but it hasn't really gotten great critical reception, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and even the people that do enjoy it know its flaws, and, you know, the same with like Battlefront and stuff like that. But yeah, man, this was something that I think a lot of people were super, super stoked about going into it. But
dude, I was so excited.
In the world of releasing a game during COVID, there's great success. I mean, at The Last of Us, at Ghost of Tsushima, at tons of other things, and you know, the PS5 coming up too. I do think, though, it's just the design of this game. I just don't think it's what people wanted. I think the beta really, really just drove people away.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I was one of the people that was super on board for this. Like, as much as I've had my problems with Square Enix, so like, man, I love the Tomb Raider games, and I was hoping that, you know, that more of that influence would be shown on this. And I loved the Avengers. Obviously, I'm a huge Marvel sucker. Like, fucking put Marvel on a piece of shit and feed it to me, I'll eat it. Like, I don't give a shit. Fuck, I don't care. Taskmaster, nom 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 nom. The Tinkerer, nom 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 nom. I'll eat that shit up all day. But yeah, like they build it as a, you know, a looter shooter, like a Destiny. They build it as like a Fortnite kind of thing. There's a battle pass for each one of these characters, like grind out this character and blah, 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 blah. The most compelling thing was like the first week of release, I heard all these reviewers and people that I trust on YouTube saying like, hey, if you don't like the grindy looter shooter stuff, the main campaign story is like 8 to 12 hours long, and it features Ms. Marvel and all the Avengers in a really great capacity, and it's super, super good. And so that was the thing where I was like, oh, well, that might be the sunshine, the ray of sunshine in this whole gloomy cloud, is that the campaign is actually a really good Marvel story. But every other thing was just a complaint about everything beyond that. And so if Marvel Avengers goes down to like a $20 or $25 mark this holiday season, I might consider picking it up, but I don't blame anyone from steering away from this, because this clearly isn't the superhero game that a lot of people wanted.
I did not play the beta, and I don't intend to buy the game. I do love Marvel, and I do love the comic book characters and all that jazz too. But this game, once I found out more of what it was about, just does not intrigue me at all in the same way that like an Arkham Knight style story-based superhero game would have with the Avengers, even if they made it like GTA based too, where it's like multiple people that you can control. That's kind of what I was here for. And this just doesn't really intrigue me, which is a bummer. But I mean, it's Marvel. The IP is going to be fine. Literally, Miles Morales comes out today. So.
Oh, brother. Hell yeah. Miles Morales, baby.
Yeah. So let's keep the video game talk going, Zach. And
let's go.
I got a really fun thing to present. This is something that you and I talked about off air that we wanted to do, kind of like how our friends is doing a book club and documentary club. But what if we did a thing where we pick a video game and we kind of play around with it for like a week or so, get a couple hours into it, and just like talk about things that we don't normally talk about?
Yeah.
I wanted to do this mostly because you give me a lot of shit for not playing different video games. So I wanted to use this as an opportunity to kind of explore my horizons. So
cool.
I picked our first game, which was a deep cut Legend of Zelda game. I picked 2001's Oracle of Seasons and Oracle of Ages, which came out for the Game Boy Color, I believe.
Yep.
And you and I each played a different one. I played Ages, you played Seasons. Yes. I logged probably no more than like 3 or 4 hours into it, but I'm
about
in the
middle,
same
for me.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the second dungeon. And it probably goes without saying, as with every Zelda game, the format's kind of similar. You got to go to about 8 different dungeons to acquire 8 different items to be able to fight the final boss. And, you get different weapons and or gadgets that help you with one specific dungeon along the way. But the one thing that I thought was interesting about this was it's not in Hyrule.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I couldn't even tell you the name of the land that I'm in, but my guy Johnny wakes up in the middle of a forest and goes to a concert, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, I'm traveling
so you name your guy Johnny?
Yeah, I don't name him Link. I know his name's Link.
Oh, I name him Link every time.
I name him Johnny or something. There was a chance too for me to name a baby of a local town, and I named it Lucas. So shout out to Lucas.
Shit! I named him John.
How about that, man?
I named the baby John. Damn.
But just kind of like technological stuff. This is kind of like the top-down Link to the Past kind of, not necessarily side scroller, but RPG, where you have a tiny ass frame and you walk into the next frame and it's just an extension of the same field or something like that. But,
well, that was the first real jarring thing for me was like dealing with frame by frame stuff. Cause it's not like Link to the Past, at least it was a little bit, it's like pretty fluid. Like you move from one screen to another and it kind of like moves with you. But like with this one, literally the entire shit resets when you get to the next frame. It's really, really jarring.
Actually, even Pokemon's better because it moves with you. Yeah, I guess it is very jarring. So the gimmick with each of our games, and I don't know how far you got into yours, but with mine, you get a harp that allows you to travel back in time so that you experience the same town and or dungeon from earlier in the past. Maybe when a specific tree or rock wasn't there or something like that. You're able to kind of solve puzzles that way. But yours is you get to change the seasons, right?
Yeah.
Does that come into play at all in your gameplay?
Yeah, it comes into play almost immediately. And I don't know how it is for you with your game, but it's like,
Yeah, same.
man, immediately it's like each one of the different towns, not just towns, but like each screen like you go into could be facing a different season, and they pop that up in the top left corner where it's like, hey, you're in this part of this town, you're in spring. You're in this part of this town, you're in fall, or you're in winter, and different items and different environmental stuff in the different seasons is conducive to what you need to be doing. So like there's this one thing where it's like there's clearly a heart fragment on the top of this mountain, but in spring the leaves will be flowing upward, and so you can jump on this little platform and the leaves will carry you upward up to the top, and you can get this heart fragment. But because most of the first from the time that you get to the first dungeon, it's all in like fall or whatever, you just can't do that, but you can still see it. So it's kind of got that Metroidvania aspect to it where it's like, well, maybe down the line, once I get these abilities, I can get that power up there later.
Well, that's pretty neat. I honestly think yours sounds a little bit more enjoyable because mine kind of does feel like Ocarina of Time or even Link to the Past, where it's just like I'm just changing my environment to what it used to be or what it could be in an alternate dimension, whereas like yours kind of does like different physical things too. But overall, I think it's kind of like you mentioned, not really a bad Zelda game.
No, I'm having a lot of fun with it. Honestly,
I'm having
like,
a lot of fun. I'll probably finish it, to be honest with you. Like
yeah,
I've enjoyed just playing it like 20 minutes or so before I go to bed every night. So
yeah, it seems super, like there's, I don't know. This could be a gross over generalization, but I don't think there's a bad Zelda game. I think that the worst Zelda game is like okay, but like they were all pretty decent, and like this one at least, it's got some fun puzzle stuff. I thought the first dungeon was really really cool, like the Ragged Key dungeon or whatever it was. And I thought, like, did you have to ride the minecart in your first dungeon?
nah, dude, our dungeons are completely different. Mine was in a graveyard.
Oh shit!
Mine was in a graveyard with ghosts and stuff.
Oh damn!
Yeah,
this is cool. We should keep this going.
I think it's cool that they're two very different games. That's why.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I wanted to pick it. And I would love to continue to finish the game. And maybe you and I don't switch the next video game quite yet, and we kind of check back in next pod and see how.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that because I'd be curious to know how it wraps up. But like, yeah. I was expecting it to be like subtle deviations, but it does sound like these are pretty substantial differences.
No, it's not like Pokemon like Red and Blue.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting.
Two different Pokemon that you get, but like this is like two very, very different games.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. I wouldn't have thought about it originally, but it makes sense for like Zelda, like that franchise is known for taking much drastic risks over stuff like Pokemon. So I don't know. This is cool. I think this is a cool thing. And by the way, the video game book club or whatever we're going to call it, like we'd like to do, a lot of varied stuff. So if you have any suggestions for games that you want John and I to play, please send them to radiovaniashow@gmail.com or tweet at Radiovania. Do all that stuff. Send us your requests.
Definitely, as long as it's not Death Stranding. So.
You would like, dude.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you because I know you're a little wine tipsy, and I'm just trying to get under your skin.
No, it's fine. Death Stranding is like, I'll say it again. Cal, at me. Death Stranding is like Lost. It's like that same caliber of storytelling. Like there's like the what's real, what isn't like real.
Lost either. So
Cal didn't like Lost.
No.
Uh-oh. Ooh. Well,
it's all right. We're still family.
That's fine. All right.
Speaking of which, Izzy and I are in the last season, so I will definitely make that a news topic when we finish it and tell you how she thought of it.
Well, we're getting close to. Remember when we did the highest viewed video on Radiovania's YouTube channel, which is the Lost Cast? We should probably do a Lost Cast part 2.
Yeah, I'd be down for that for sure.
Me too.
But yeah, we will continue to play Legend of Zelda, and then we will play a new game for our book club in the future.
If John's able to get his hands on a PlayStation 5, I would love to do Miles Morales. I think that would be a really great game.
I agree completely. But I think it's time that we keep going with our comic book shop talk, Zach. What do you think? Thank you for the musical cue. So I don't really have much this week. I even thought about just skipping this until next time, but I think it'd be cool to talk about it just because I don't know when the next time we're going to be able to record will be, but hopefully sometime soon. But I really only have two things, and unfortunately they are both DC related because I haven't read my comics yet since the last time we talked. Sorry about it. But in the main run of the Batman comic books for DC Comics, the most recent have been issues 101 and 102, as well as Detective Comics 1028 and 1029. They're following up a major crossover event called the Joker War. And just real quick, I'll tell you, I wasn't a huge fan of the Joker War crossover.
Joker War.
Yeah, and at the same time, they were doing the Three Jokers, which was a mini-series by Jeff Johns. I would definitely recommend Three Jokers. Joker War was kind of okay. Certain parts of it is cool, but it's more of what comes afterwards that I really enjoyed. And that's what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about here is if you want to dive into Batman, I think now is the time to do it because they have just created two brand new villains. One is called I think his name's the Ghostmaker, and the other is called Mirror. And they're two different Batman villains that have never appeared before. They're both being created by the current authors of each of those books. So the Ghostmaker is in Batman and Mirror is in Detective Comics. Zach, you would really like Mirror because he's essentially wearing the same costume as Looking Glass from Watchmen, which is like a mirror, like morph suit almost. But
I saw a giant squid.
I'll just give you a quick
giant squid pitch. Fucked me up.
I'll just give you that's your what's his name? Tim Blake Nelson.
Tim Blake Nelson impersonation.
Yeah, so good. I'll just give you a quick synopsis about each of these villains, just kind of set them up. So the Ghostmaker is essentially like he kind of does look like Moon Knight, but with a sword. So like this big white cloak and armor and stuff like that. Or like Taskmaster. But his shtick is he was trained by the same person that trained Batman, which in the comics is a various group of ninjas. And so him and Batman know each other. The
League of Shadows.
Yeah, so him and Batman know each other from their childhood. And now he's back in lieu of the Joker War to be Gotham's new protector because he doesn't think Batman is doing a good enough job. And the Mirror, on the other hand, is someone who is trying to work with Gotham's criminal underworld, like the Falcone family and stuff, to essentially shine, a mirror on these caped vigilantes and showing them just how much they aren't solving the problems of Gotham City. So two different characters that are trying to expose that, like, Batman, you're the reason why this Joker War happened that devastated Gotham's infrastructure and economy. So it's kind of like these interesting fallout characters there. So yeah, if you want to check them out, go to your local comic store, do curbside pickup, or check them out digitally. But I'm really enjoying the fact that it's just new characters because after the Joker War, I kind of want to break from the Joker for a little bit. So
cool.
I think they're leaning a little too heavily into it. But and then our other little news topic here is just kind of a fun one for me, at least, and maybe for you, Zach, a little bit too, because I know you've seen at least an episode or two. But the animated Justice League show, which is my favorite version of the Justice League with Kevin Conroy's Batman and tons of other voice actors, early 2000s, and eventually was promoted to Justice League Unlimited, and they introduced a bunch of more DC characters like the Green Arrow and Captain Atom and the Question, is some of the best DC animated stuff ever. Maybe like right behind Batman the Animated Series, in my opinion. And recently, Michael Rosenbaum, the actor and podcaster, he has his own podcast called Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, where he brings a different guest on each week and they just kind of talk about stuff, shoot the shit. But he played Lex Luthor on Smallville, and he was also the voice of the Flash in this Justice League cartoon. And he did a Zoom call with everyone in the original 7 Justice League, minus Kevin Conroy, who couldn't for scheduling purposes, and brought on the entire voice cast of the Justice League. And they just got caught up during quarantine and talked about what they've all been doing from home with their families, and talked about the success of the show and how they want to get reunited for an animated DC movie, and hashtag JL reunion, I believe, is what they're doing on Twitter. And at the end of the podcast episode, Michael Rosenbaum wrote a tiny 2-minute script about the Justice League at the mall. And they all dive back into their voice acting performances for each of those characters, about Batman buying a sweater, which is just entirely endearing. And I listened to this podcast, Zach, and I had more fun listening to this podcast than I did watching any of the DCEU. So I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it'd be pretty fun. If you're a big fan of the show, please go check out this podcast, because Michael Rosenbaum, I think, is hilarious and has great things to talk about in general. But also this specific episode was really fun for me as a Justice League cartoon fan.
Yeah. I think Michael Rosenbaum is a good guy. And I caught like the clips of this, but I didn't watch the entire episode or the final like clip of this, but
you can watch the YouTube of them doing that scene on his YouTube feed, Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum. And it's a really funny 2 minutes. I would
just talk about like a heartwarming thing. I love shit like this. Like, you want to get me more invested in a brand. Like, I don't know if that's what their ultimate goal is for like hosting these sorts of things, but it's like having people like this do things like this makes me inherently more invested in what they're doing. I don't know.
For sure.
It warmed my heart to see, and it was a cool article to read. And I don't know. Yeah. I like Michael Rosenbaum. I like all these voice actors. It is a bummer that Kevin Conroy couldn't make it for this, but you have to imagine that with the success of this particular like publicity stunt, that they couldn't make him come back for another.
Well, they've had different Comic-Con panels and he's been on them, so he's very much in support of the show. It was literally just a scheduling issue. And Kevin Conroy was on an episode of Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum about 2 months ago, this past summer. So if you want a whole episode of just Kevin Conroy, he's got one in there too. So
cool.
Kevin and all of the people that are involved in the Justice League cast are still very much involved in trying to get the show reunited. I mean, obviously we know Kevin Conroy still does Batman work, but the rest of them aren't quite as fortunate as him, and they really loved their time on the show. And in my opinion, they're some of the best portrayals of those characters. Like, I love the Wonder Woman movie with Gal Gadot, but Susan Eisenberg's voice as Wonder Woman in the Justice League show is my favorite portrayal of that character. So definitely go check out the pod, or if you're bored in quarantine and looking for a good show, check out the cartoon. You can watch it on Amazon Prime.
Check out both Radiovanians.
Yeah, and Radiovania supports hashtag JL reunion. So. Yes,
do that. But
that's all we got, man.
Yeah, that's everything. I think
we did it.
We did the whole rigmarole. Yeah. So this is going to be a thick ass show because we have to splice in the Mando review. But man, I think this is a good one.
It's one of my favorites, despite almost being attacked by raccoons.
Build's character.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
so it was good. It was good catching up with you and having the time for you and me to talk to Lucas. And until next time, my friend.
Yeah. So heads up, Radiovania fans, we might not be back next weekend, but you could probably put a pin in it and probably bet on the fact that at least in 2 weeks, we will be back with another episode, which means that we might have seen 2 more episodes of Mando.
And PS5, hopefully.
And PS5. You. Yeah, if Target finally gets their shit together, I might have my PlayStation 5 in the next few days, and I'll be able to give my full review, and I'll be able to talk, spoiler free about Miles Morales and Demon Souls and all that shit. So thank you all for listening. As always, remember Radiovania.com. That's the key. Go to Radiovania.com, click the follow button, click the subscribe button, like the videos, subscribe, give us a rating, give us a review. Listen to that shit there. That would be awesome. We'd love you for doing that. And then, follow the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Zach Rotello. Follow John Parker at Papa John's Pizza or whatever.
And nothing.
But thank you all for listening. We will catch you on the flippity flip.
On the flippity flip.